Illumination movies have crushed the animation scene, but they have never made a horror movie. So today I'm taking two of their biggest films and turning them into horror. Starting with Hops. So obviously we're gonna start by masking out the rabbit. Now once that is done, I actually want to put this rabbit in like this cave environment. So I started by color correcting the background because I wanted to have like this bluish tone. And once that was done, to match the rabbit with the background, we did the same to the rabbit. Now with the next part is kind of where I confused myself. I wanted to have this cracked egg, and it will make sense at the end of the video, but instead of me actually just grabbing an image of a cracked egg, I grabbed an image of an egg and then grabbed an image of an egg with a crack in it just to integrate it, but it makes no sense, but let's just continue. And once I finally battled my demons, I just gave into it and just grabbed the egg that was already cracked and open. And to integrate it into the background, I started to get rid of some of the egg parts so that it feels integrated with the rubble on the floor. After that, I thought it might have been a good idea to start adding shadows. And the way that I did that is by having actions. And if you want to have these actions for completely free, you can join my school community where you can get all my free resources. And this is where I will also upload exclusive videos of how I make these designs. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Once I had these shadows on the egg obviously needed shadows in front of it as well. And to make it look more realistic, I painted back some lighting because obviously not everything will be pitch black. And then I thought it might have been a good idea to add some blood onto the egg already, but it'll make sense why I got rid of that at the end. Now for the next part, this is actually very good because I bought a new drawing tablet and I was able to test it this way. So for the next part, I wanted to integrate this slimy substance coming from the mountain itself. Now basically what I did is I did this in layers. I started with marking the places where I want the substance to be, and then I started adding layers on top of it. Obviously this hole that the egg has is not going to be empty. There's something coming out of that. So for this I found an image of an alien creature, but the only thing I really needed was its arm. So I masked out the arm, used puppet warp to make it look like the arm was actually coming out of the egg. And I also changed the position of the fingers a bit so it falls naturally on the rocks on the floor. I do have to say though, the lighting on the arm was kind of ass. So it took some time to get it right, but I feel like it wasn't quite right at the end either, but we made it work. Then I made the inside of the egg. I gave it more of this greenish tone to it because I wanted it to look like there was light emitting from the inside. And after that, I made sure that the cracks in the egg also had some of that greenish tone into it. And after I was done with that, I started to make my own slimy substance coming from the egg. After I painted the substance, I brought in a particle effect to drag over the substance to enhance the effect of the substance even more. After that, I did not like the background. It just looked a little bit too boring to me. So what I did is I replaced the sky with a different sky. And this wasn't an easy task either because the sky that I actually got, it was very busy. So what I basically did is I darkened the edges so it wasn't screaming too loud in the design. And after I was happy with the sky, it was basically just the rabbit that was left. So what I did is I integrated greenish eyes. I made the rabbit a little darker and desaturated so it actually felt evil. And once that was done, I started adding more glows and substance on the rest of the image because it was only on the left side and I wanted on the right side as well. And I thought it would have been a very good idea to add moss textures to it as well. And it worked out quite good because I basically just overlaid it on top of the rocks and just played a little bit with the blending modes, and it actually fit quite well. After the mossy textures, I added some more of this stringy substance to the actual rocks. And the rabbit still had these drumsticks, and I don't think it's a very good idea to have drumsticks in a horror poster, I guess. So we used some generative fill to get rid of those. And then after some final adjustments, I added a camera raw filter, and that was the horror version of Hops. And if you don't want this mutated rabbit to pay you a visit tonight, you better hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh, join my free school community, which you can find in the description. Next up is Despicable Me. Now for Despicable Me, I mean, if you look at this poster, it's quite obvious what you can do with it, but I still thought it was a nice idea to get started with this one. So the first thing I did is I cut out the main subjects and integrated a different background. Now, obviously, because it had like this yellowish tone in the main poster or in the original poster, it had these yellow highlights, which I got rid of. And then to make it look like the guy is actually eating the minion, I masked out the minion and made him a little bit bigger. I just integrated blood into it immediately. Once the blood was in place, I started playing around with the coloring of the monster because it was way too vibrant for my liking, especially for a horror poster. So I used the hue and saturation adjustment layer to get rid of those colors. And once that was done, I used a nice little trick that I always use to create shadows. And then my son walked into my office and wanted me to draw poop. Yes, he wanted me to draw that. Anyways, let's get back to the shadows. So I just had to refine the shadows a little bit because it was going outside of the shoes. But after that, I thought it was looking pretty nice. Now, I find his teeth to look way too clean. So for that, I grabbed a dirty teeth texture and integrated over the teeth. And then I thought it still looked way too nice, so I started integrating these blood spatters over the actual minion and the monster. And at this point, I found the image looking quite flat. So what I did is I integrated lighting on the back. And for this lighting, I needed a source. So basically what I did, I just added a cable on top to make it look like there was a light bulb or something on the back. And for the next part is basically me doing the highlights. So let's turn this into a quick montage. After I was done with the lighting, I thought it might have been a good idea to make it look like they were drinking wine, so I added a wine puddle on the floor. And obviously that puddle doesn't come out of thin air, so I just drew a couple of lines over the monster, following the 3D shape of the monster onto the floor. It's kind of like this guy cannot drink. I don't know what the hell his problem is. I still thought this minion was looking way too friendly, so I closed one of his eyes, and because I was a little bit lazy, I thought, you know, what if I just use generative fill to get rid of his current mouth and replace it with a mouth that looks sad or disturbed? Well, this was the result. Look at this. And people are afraid of AI? What the is this? Anyways, that obviously did not work out, so I basically just drew my own mouth shape, integrated some shadows into the mouth and some minion teeth. After looking at this, I thought that looked quite cool, but I do think that the monster still looks a little bit too clean, even though he has blood on him. But I still wanted to integrate some dirt on him, so that's exactly what I did. And after that, it was basically just a camera raw filter to finish it up, and that was the horror version of Despicable Me. Oh, and I also added some text into it. Now, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you go to the description, join my free school community where I will drop exclusive content that you will not find here on YouTube. But if you like this video, you might like this video too.